Hey everybody, Christy Young here with Abundant Life Coaching. Excited to be back with you for another video, and just want to share some thoughts with you that I was having this morning as I was getting ready for work. I'm getting older, as we all are each day, right? And as I do, I'm getting more and more gray in my hair. And I've been growing my hair, the color of my hair out, to where at this point it's all just virgin hair. All highlights and all of that have grown out, and I've been going back and forth on whether or not to put some color back in it to highlight it again. And it's an interesting experience as you get older and you start to have more gray hair and you start to experience changes that happen with age. And we live in, at least in our culture, in the Western culture, in the American culture, we live in such a society that fights aging so much. So often we're sent these messages all the time. We're just told these ongoing messages of you have to cling to youth with everything that you have, with looking as young as you can for as long as you can, and spend all kinds of money and do all kinds of efforts and processes and things like that to fight age, to fight that natural progression of just getting older. And as I've been going back and forth of what to do with my hair color, which maybe sounds like a silly thing, but I was thinking this morning that part of the reason I've grown it out, I was actually inspired by my sister-in-law. She started doing that a couple of years ago, and I was just really encouraged by her. And she looks beautiful, and I just loved her decision, her courage to just embrace that. And I was thinking this morning about this and was just struck by how much I enjoy considering the decision for myself. And maybe that sounds like a silly thing, but again, we are sent so many messages in our world, and not just around coloring our hair, but in every stage of life, we hear so many messages that by this point, your life should look like whatever, or you do this because that's just what you do when you reach that age. And yes, those are options. The option is there that by the time you reach a certain age, you graduate high school, you go to college. That is an option, but do you have to? Is it something that you have to do? You're in your mid-20s, your mid-30s, you get married. You could, but do you have to? You get married, maybe you start to have children. You could, but do you have to? And so I'm just my mind was just kind of challenging these kind of standards that we tend to hear, whether directly or just assume, are pushed on us, that say this is what you're supposed to do when you reach this mark. And it's such a powerful thing and such a beautiful thing to pause and ask yourself, okay, well, I could do that. That is an option. What are the rest of my options? What else could I do? What's most meaningful to me? Why do I want to choose whatever direction I decide to go in? And is it a decision that I'm making for myself, or am I just making it out of expectations put on me by someone else, or just a societal expectation that I hear through ads or marketing or social media influence, things like that? And so I encourage you, maybe it's not related to what you do with your hair color, but I just encourage you to pause and think about the decisions that are facing you, or the things that maybe you do that you don't really put a whole lot of thought into, things that you do just because that's what you've always done. And to pause and think about, why am I choosing to do this? Is it something that I've really thought through and I've concluded, yeah, that I would really enjoy that, or that's important to me, or that's meaningful to me? Or do you discover, what, there's a different option that's actually more meaningful to me, that feels more genuine to me, that feels more important to me? And what's beautiful about that is every time we do that, every time we pause and consider what choice we're going to make and why we're going to make it, you're living your life. And that might sound like a silly statement to say, but we often live on autopilot. We often live just reacting to the things thrown at us without really considering, why am I doing what I'm doing and what does it mean to me? So I invite you, as I am doing as well myself, to consider the things that you're faced with, the decisions that you're weighing back and forth. Consider all the options and then decide for you what's most meaningful to you. So that when you make that decision, you can know, I made that intentionally. I made that choice purposefully. And as you do that, your life will feel more satisfying. Your life will feel more authentic and genuine, even when it goes against the flow of other lives around you or other things that people are doing. And you can live genuinely content with, this is my life. And it might not always go great, but I'm choosing the path that I truly feel really meaningful to me. So I hope this encourages you. I hope it gets those wheels turning as I have in my brain. Would love to hear your feedback, your comments. If there's anything I can support you in, feel free to email me at connect@yourabundantlifecoach.com. Check out my website at yourabundantlifecoach.com. And otherwise, happy choosing, and I hope you have a wonderful day.